Smart Photography Live. Man, I'm so glad that you're here with me today. My name is Jim Landers, and I'm a photography teacher, mostly on the business side of photography. And I am the host of the Smart Photography Live. We've got a special guest on for you today. I think you're going to enjoy this. Our special guest today is Shinu John. He's a luminary in the photography community, renowned for his remarkable talent and extensive experience in getting his work published. With a keen eye for captivating imagery and a knack for navigating the ever evolving landscape of publishing, Shinu is here to share his invaluable insights and his strategies. So, without any further ado, I'd like to bring on Shinu John. Shanu, how you
Hello,
doing?
everyone. Hello. I'll adjust my camera a tiny bit. I am doing wonderful. How about yourself, Jim?
Great. Man, I'm so glad that you made time to be able to come on and share some of your thoughts and the things that you've learned, your experiences over time. But before we move into that, tell me a little bit about who you are and where you're at right now. And you're in Ireland, right?
Yes, I am.
I mean, you're coming a long way away from a lot of this. I'm in San Antonio, Texas. Tell us a little bit about you and where you're at.
Yeah. So I was like born in India. I grew up most of my life in India, and navigating in life through different jobs in IT and consultation. I eventually landed in Ireland. I did like a master's in cryptography, as like the mathematics behind cryptography, and like photography became a calling for me. As an artist, it's hard to not vent out artistically, and I think like photography like gave me a medium. And Ireland, like the day that I landed here, I just literally fell in love. As in like the oxygen in the air, the people are so nice, and like the freshness, the excitement, and the way people welcome a complete foreigner. Like it's like people don't stress at all. As in like you could just talk to a random stranger and just joke around with him, eventually going for drinks together, and just forget about the next day. And it's amazing. It's amazing in Ireland.
Nice. So you would recommend that I make a trip?
100%, 100%. Make it into your bucket list for sure.
I'll have to do that. I bet my wife would like to go too. Hey, what's that mug?
It's
That looks
the FilterPixel goodie with my own
ooh,
name on it.
oh,
It's actually
nice.
really nice. It's actually really nice.
Love it.
It has
Well,
become
tell
one of my favorite mugs now.
is that right? I love it. It's fantastic. Well, tell us a little bit about you and the business that you have. What is it that maybe caused you to even get into the business, and what currently motivates you?
Yeah, like in photography, I've been like taking photos for like just over like 6 7 years now, and I
Yeah.
started off with like street photography. Uh, I like the challenge it posed, as in like it's unpredictable and you have to be discreet at the same time, and you have to be a fortune teller, as in like you predict the future, what's about to happen, and
Yeah.
nothing is under control. So I think I pushed myself into the deep end during with street photography, and it gave me the skill to predict basically in real life. And I think that has enhanced the way that I create portraits a lot. I dabbled in music as well a lot, and I
Oh,
think yeah, I had my uh, kind of like a music dropout as a graduate, but I used to play music, I used to write, but like I think that also like gave me a skill to like connect with people in a more deeper sense. Now I've had like loads of like fashion publications over the years, but now
yeah.
I'm like kind of like switched entirely to like art, like fine artwork. So the portraits that I make is more like a commission artwork style. I like to talk to people, find their life story, find something that they aspire to, or a dream they had which they could not finish in a way, or could not live the life of, but it's still like a fantasy in their heads. And I would like make a set, basically conceptualize the entire idea, transform the space, the studio space, into something absolutely magical, and basically take that photograph, and then it's like long hours of Photoshop to bring out that thing, in that portrait, that expression, that emotion. Like when we say a picture says 1,000 words, I want that storytelling, those 1,000 words in that photo. This would be like one of my like favorite artworks that I made. Was about
It's beautiful.
26 hours of editing at a single go. As in, like, I
Whew.
literally started on a Friday and I came out of
Yeah.
the room on a Sunday morning without food and water. And I
Oh
knew
my
it was like a
goodness, are you
masterpiece in the
serious?
making, and I just couldn't get up and leave. You just don't want
Yeah.
that break. And well, like,
Wow.
absolutely amazing. Like, this was like this was actually taken inside my like house bedroom, and she
Yeah.
was sitting on a bedside locker. I have nailed some plyboards onto it, stretched that in Photoshop. The fabric that she was wearing was more, I felt like, it's kind of like Hessian, but it's used to like clean cars. So it's like stretchy, gets started really well, and it gave that angelic vibe to it. And the wing, oh, like, long story, but the image, the theme of the image was actually about the personification of someone who is good and kind as an angel, but still gets punished for doing good. So it's like a single winged angel. And I have like series of these which I like, love. It's the target is also publication for 7 of them, so it's like 5 down, 2 more to go.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
It's
cool.
a big project. It's been going over a year and a half now.
Wow. Are you going to are these going to be all published somewhere, or are you going to have a gallery showing where people can see them?
It's going to be gallery. So just because
Gallery.
this one was shared online, you can't share that in public spaces anymore. So it
Gotcha.
was kind of like a I wouldn't say, kind of like a patron in a way. So who suggested that they'll be willing to like buy these off if the series is more cohesive. So like the money wasn't the goal. It's like getting to create that and show it to the world that this is something magical that you can see. You know, and good that the costs are covered for me. It's not less
Yeah.
stressful. Yeah, but like
Um,
the joy of creating something that has never been created before. That's what makes me full as an artist.
Glad you're telling me that. I mean, that was one of the things I was thinking about asking you is your passion, where it's coming from, where it's going, how it propels you, and you've just moved right into it because you're overflowing with that creative passion, which is fantastic. It's very interesting to me, and I think that the viewers who are watching right now. So, tell us more about the world of publishing and how you stepped into that. Was that because you were after that for the entire time and it finally happened, or did you just accidentally fall into it? Because people come into it in lots of different ways.
Yes. So, like, what I like suggest people would be trying to first identify what is the intent behind the reason for the pursuit of the publication. If they are, say, doing it as like photography's business, is the result of the publication intended to boost the business? If they're young artists who are looking for like a medium to share their work with the world, with their audience, then there is a different route. If they want to like have the honor of calling themselves a published photographer, then there's a different route. And most publication magazines, I would say like more than 80% of them, would ideally or usually have a cohesive theme on which they're working on in every publication. Say example, say a magazine which comes to my mind, say Movier. So certain times of the year they would just focus on black and white like images. A certain publication they would just focus on like colors with, say, the theme red, or the color with the theme blue or yellow. They usually give out these criterias, before the publication is actually live when they're open for submissions.
Sure.
There's one web platform which I'll share with the audience, where they actually can look for publication, like those magazines which go up online. Some of them are like free, like they just have a digital media. Some of them are print on demand. So basically, you submit to the magazine, and if you choose to basically buy it, you can buy a one-off copy like from the publisher. They usually give you like tear sheets. It's like a digital PDF copy of that page in the magazine if you want to like share it like publicly. And if you want like a physical copy, I'll show you something like this. This one
Yeah.
was from I think 2020, volume 6, 2020. So they just needed something which was outlandish, which was thematic about anything which makes you feel a bit vintage, different colors basically. So for me, it was just random art creations, and I might have created like 20 something images in this session with her, completely diverse, like not connected to each other at all. Maybe a bit of posing would be similar, but like the images, the clothes, like the mood and the theme of the image, those were completely unconnected. But all of them were connected with the same thing, that they looked, vintage and classy. At the same time, they look modern because of the colors. And I was like, okay, let's have a stab at the magazine publication. Maybe they like it, maybe they don't. And I
Yeah.
submitted like 8 or 9 images, of which they like six. They're like the other three were like not either duplicates or like not connected to the theme at all. And I was like, yeah, we're first. So I got like six images, like 3 pages of publication in the magazine out of like 22. And yeah, it's considered a privilege, of course. Like there'll be like hundreds of applications, and they choose I think about 11 or 12 in a publication. So
Wow.
it's yeah, that's a good thing. So basically, for all the people who want to submit to the magazine, I would recommend first give a good read on what the requirements for the publication is. Are they following a theme, or like a color scheme, or there should be some kind of a description based on which they want to align the edition with. Some
Okay.
magazines would be like free for all. They're like, we are open for like submissions, and basically they have a jury of editors who just pick the best based on the number of pages they have in the publication.
That's interesting. Where would someone so someone watching right now is thinking, I'd love to have my work published.
Hmm.
Where can they find places to get their work published? Can they, what would, if they're doing a Google search, what are they going to search, or
Yeah,
where
so
could they find that kind of information?
uh those one which the biggest, I would say, the marketplace for publications is a website called Caviar. So
Caviar.
can I share my screen here? Yeah, I think so, I can. Yeah. So if people are able to see my screen,
Yes.
awesome. So so Caviar's like homepage looks like this, where they have a list of all the publications that basically you have for photographers, hairstylists, models, based on which submissions you want to go. They could have a list of like magazines, like there's like Lucy's, Untitled, One, Flanell, Bella, Tainted, Style Cruise, Bleach Film. It's like a big gallery. You could filter based on like the genre. So you want to like do like fashion, beauty, just hair, fine art. Like there will be like an exclusive men's magazine. There will be travel, family, city and architecture. This underwater. You could filter based on like print, social only, web only, or digital only. Some of them would be like paid, as in like you might have to like pay for submission, and if you get on the cover, they might ask a small fee for like editors work, basically to get them engaged and tweak a bit to the magazine cover. Then there's like a pro only, which is like the more higher end magazines which actually have like a viewership. Yeah, so basically you have like a whole like big marketplace of like loads of magazines you can submit to. And most of them would want exclusivity, as in like once if you are publishing through the magazine, that image should not be on social media at all. So no digital copies of that magazine floating around anywhere, as in their audience should not be able to basically see that image even before publication. That's the way to put it.
That definitely makes sense that they would want that. How did you become aware of these different publications?
uh it was through another photographer, as in like it
Yeah.
was one of the I think it was like one of the events that like we had like like I was hosting like a studio day for a model, and like basically we hired the model for like 6 hours. It's 8 hours with a small break, and we have photographers come in. They have like 20-minute slots. They work away with the model, and one of the photographers just brought in a magazine, which was like we were sharing some of his work in print, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
that's a cool magazine. You will flip the pages and you see the collection of images they have, and it's like, okay, this is solid work. Things you may not see in your visual feeds of Instagram, and if it's on print, it should be good enough. It's not garbage which people just throw on Instagram. It's curated in some way or the other. And yeah, I just like dug up the magazine, followed them on Instagram, found their editor like online, and I just shot them a message, and just like, okay, like I am a photographer, I have this, these kind of work that I make. Is that something that you would want to publish in your magazine? And yeah, he's like, yeah, like your work is really good, but this edition and the next, we are not following this theme, but we have one edition in August, which your work might be suited best for. And I was like, okay, like just put it. I submitted like 7 images in the gallery. Mine was all over the place, like heavily photoshopped, and they're like, this is like too much for us. This is more subtle fashion oriented brand. So we would want something more fashiony rather than more photoshopped. I'm like, okay, let's redo the submission. So I go to my archives again and like find a shoot that I had done last week and edited a few more. They had the color like orange as part of the theme, and coincidentally, like she was wearing an orange dress, or like an orange, like what's it called, some kind of fashion thing. As it was a fashion accessory, which is more orange as well. So I played around with that orange and like picked the shots which were like cohesive but different. They were not duplicates of each other basically, and yeah, submitted 9 of them, and like 6 of them got selected. And yeah,
So
that was the first. And yeah, after that they were like 12, 13, 14. I don't know. I lost
yeah,
track.
do they start? So you reached out to them, submitted images,
Mhm.
resubmitted images. Are they asking you for things? Or do they reach out to you and say, "Do you have something in this category?" Or is it just your work to them? It's your effort that makes it happen.
It goes both ways actually. Like them reaching out to the photographer needs a criteria that you should be really established and famous as a photographer. So like if you're good, if you're engaged in the photography circle, and you have a audience that actually sees what you're doing, then it gets into the notice. And it's
Okay.
like a football field. Like you basically toss your ball around and hope someone sees. And once it's seen, then people start to see you, and the engagement gets more and more from that side. So like after like there were some magazines in which like I basically stopped submitting because like they did align with my artistic vision, but still like every 4 or 5 months they'll message me on Instagram saying, "Oh, do we have publication this? Do you have anything for publication?" I was like, like it doesn't align. I'm not making new work exclusively for Image Magazine now anymore.
Do those Do you do those for marketing purposes to help you promote your brand, or is that a business within itself that you can make a living from?
Uh, for the latter, it's a trick one. So based on the magazine and who reads it,
Yeah.
is that your audience? That would determine if you can market like yourself or not. So if you're say looking at say a super luxury magazine, let's give an example like mm, the most famous, I would say Playboy. There would be like certain pages where like big brands like Chanel or like Gucci would give ads. That book, like that magazine publication, would have say about like 20 million copies flying around everywhere. And if it's like say 40 $45 like full copy, the audience which is inclined to purchase a magazine like that, they would be like either heavily fashion conscious or like interested in buying fashion accessories to basically like make it part of the persona. And if you, as a photographer, are good enough and famous enough that the magazine considers a privilege to have you in the magazine, that's when the business opportunities come in. Because
Gotcha.
if you're good enough and you get to the right audience who can afford to pay a premium photographer, you're reviewed right in front of the audience, and then it's your work which like sells you. But there's another, like a step down to that magazine, converting that into business. Say if I was a fashion photographer, I was trying to sell to uh, brands, local brands, or like a medium level brand in the commercial sector. I could use this publication, like the written copy of it, and actually use that in client interactions. So if you're talking with a client face to face, you could show them a physical copy rather than them scrolling a phone and getting lost in the sea of images. You have a physical copy right now, and like, okay, that gives you your application more weight.
Makes sense. Huh. So are are there publications that do pay the photographers, or is it mostly you're submitting and there isn't any compensation for it, but you can use it as a marketing tool if it's part of your plan?
Some magazines would pay, but yeah, as I said, like your reputation should be good enough that they consider you as an investment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
like the top tier photographers, I would say, who are in the commercial sector, would be charging five figures easily. And for the magazine to spend that much for creating a few pages of the magazine is a big investment. So either they find sponsors who are willing to sponsor you to create content for the magazine, or the magazine pays you to create content exclusively for them.
Gotcha.
But it's like, I would
Okay.
say top 3% of photographers actually have the reputation to do that.
So no one starts with that. They start off with
No, yeah, very rarely. It's
okay.
like just building up reputation. The more famous
Yeah.
you are in the right circle, the more engaging you are with the audience that actually appreciates you and actually follows you. That's where like the weight comes in, and the more people start talking about you, then eventually the right person sees you and just gets curious, and then it's your one-to-one interaction with the person. Like, how good are you in convincing? How good are your marketing skills? How good is your pitch, basically, as a salesman, as an artist?
Well, your work is fantastic, and it's definitely something that draws attention. Where are you going from here? What do you see as a next step for you, and where is the kind of the final destination? What would be the ultimate for you?
uh I kind of like realign my business like away from like fashion a bit. So I do pick up like commercial gigs for like medium level like brands in Ireland, who would be like looking for something different. Like if you look at like a bridal business, bridal couture, 90% of images across the companies like, basically has nearly the same models and the same clothes and the same setup and the same poses. And there would be a good number of brands who are like wanting to have something different. So I usually have them in the studio. I ideate something according to the business plans, their audience, like who are they trying to sell to, what do they like, and I try to fuse the fine art stuff, like the conceptual fine art stuff, in that scene. Some clients may like it, some stay away. They're like, we do not have the flexibility of experimenting right now, and like, they go for it. But like the majority chunk of my work would be like more like people who are like commissioning artwork for themselves, or like basically collection. So for me, it will say someone who's in their late 40s, or someone who's like has two or three companies and they're retiring everything, and they are in that iconic phase where they are feeling like a champion, basically. And that's when I get them. you know, I'm like, okay, I have something to make you absolutely iconic and etch you as an art piece forever. You could have your great grandchildren look at your point to the photo and they're like, oh, this is my granddaddy. He's badass.
Love it.
So sell the dream,
Love it.
and yeah, you push that.
So in that respect, you would be creating heirloom pieces, something that they would pass between generations.
True, true, exactly.
Nice. Am
It's
I going to
actually in
find?
my logo as well. Heirlooms by Shinu John.
Is that right? I love that.
Yeah.
So am I going to find your work at some point at the Louvre or some other well-known museum?
That well-known museum. That's a goal. Like I have like 5 or 6 exhibitions across the world, but like it's fun to do it, but it's like as an artist, I've learned to be humble. As in, like, I no matter what the achievement, people say, "Oh, you got published in this, you got featured in this, you had an exhibition here." I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, like I shared with the world, it brought me joy. But this like I'm a simple person, like I don't show off excessively. And for me, it's about like sharing it with the world, getting the opportunity to present to the world something that's never been created before. Like they say, every civilization in history is known by its philosophers, poets, and the creatives, basically. That's what I want to be that cog in the bigger scale where I might leave an impression in someone's life. And that's what
Nice.
makes the difference in mine.
Nice. So in getting published,
Hmm.
if someone has that as their goal, they probably start off with it, and you mentioned this before when you and I were talking before we went live. Um, we were talking about how your initial is more of it feels good to be published. It's a self thing. You want to get published. You have this need. You have this feeling like I want to get published. Define that and how you evolve into doing where you're at now, because I'm sure you started off with that feeling of excitement every time you see your image, and you probably still feel that way when you see it being published. But tell me about how you feel about that and how that feeling has evolved over time.
I would say the first time that I was published, uh, it brought immense joy because I was rejected 6 times. And it's like climbing a stair. Like, I was like, okay, I am a photographer. I take all right photos. Why am I being rejected? And they're like, they wouldn't give a reason. They just say like, your application was rejected because it did not comply to the magazine's requirements. And like, even if you ask counter questions, like, they just don't have the time for that. Like obviously there are hundreds of them who have been rejected, and they just can't answer every single one. And I realized, okay, there is something which I'm not seeing yet, and it's something that they need. And I think at that point in time, I would honestly accept I had no idea on color theory. As in, like, every image of mine was from intuition, and the colors would be like all over the place. It would look good, but there is no coherence, there is no consistency in that. And I think it was like 3 months of just like sitting and researching, and I came across, I think it was Joanna Kuster's uh, like live workshop, or it was like some kind of course in creative life, and like that thing just opened my eyes, and like so much wealth of knowledge. And I was like, okay, I was doing it almost right, but I didn't know what by how much I deviated from the wrong. I had no idea. And once I started applying that to my work, the work started looking more cohesive. And then I submitted again, and they're like, "Yeah, good." And I'm like, "Okay, give me a print order." And yeah, so when the issue was published, I gave a print order. I think it's for like $32 plus shipping to Ireland. And obviously, I was excited about the post, the first one that I got, and like having the joy of holding your work in your hand is something that cannot be compared to anything in the world. And it was a joy, to have that capability of, like you said, the dopamine feeling of calling yourself published photographer. And yep, more and more. And like, yeah, like every time you get published, you do have the dopamine release, but after a while, the kick slowly dies out. And I'm like, oh yeah, publication, yeah, it's okay. That kind of a feel. And yeah, like, for me, myself, like de-aligning myself from the fashion industry as such, like that kind of like caused me to not focus much on publications at all. uh like there will be like one in a few, twice or thrice a year that still happen, but it's fun too. Like for me now, it's all about challenging. So I would want to be published in a magazine where I'm pitted against thousands of other photographers who are like way better than me. And
Mm.
for me, that gives like a push, as in like you have to be better than them. You have to create something new which was never seen before, and even more challenging, even more of a perfect set, even less of a Photoshop required, that you create the set in a way that is almost perfect SOC. And the only thing you can do is in Photoshop is to like make it as close to perfection as you visioned it. So that gives you goals. And yeah, like I tried pushing those levels, and yeah, 11 rejections so far and one publication. And that one gives you more happiness than having 12 publications, because that's an actually challenge that you won. you know that's it.
That's I like how you shared that, and the fact that you had those experiences and kept on pushing through. You were determined. You treated this like it was a privilege, like it was a passion. It was just it just came natural to you. I mean, you said you have to do certain things, but you come across as being someone who, yes, you had to do it, but you loved doing it and you want to do it and you want to keep on doing it. The challenge makes the reward even more sweet.
Yep, exactly. Like my mentor once said to me, like if you've been eating sugar your whole life, you never get the joy of chocolate. And like that is true in a certain way. As in, like if you have been eating sweet, you don't know something which is less sweet but more tasty. You know, and I was like, yeah. So the rejections are actually good. Like as an artist, like rejections are disappointing if for everyone, but the joy is rising above that, because most artists have an an interpretation, an assumption about themselves, their own skills, their knowledge, and everything. And you don't know as an artist how much you don't know. And the journey is all about finding that. Find what you don't know and basically learn and rise. Every step you do, everything you learn, apply it and get better than what you were yesterday. And that's what
Nice.
makes you better as an artist.
Well, you guys heard it from Shanu. That's great advice. Uh, I really appreciate you sharing your story and your excitement and your passion. That it seemingly just comes natural to you that you just love this stuff and want to continue to do it. And I think a lot of us feel that way. We may not be able to say it quite as well as you said it, because you said it really well. But man, I sure do appreciate you investing and sharing your experiences here with us today.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jim. It's an honor. Like like yourself. Like you're like a mentor. You're a teacher. Like you basically tell people right, because you have a wealth of experience. With you. You know what's wrong. You know what's right, and you let them know this is the right thing. So for me, it's all about experimenting myself. I have to go through that process of making the mistakes, identifying those mistakes, identifying if it's actually a mistake or not, and then fix it. And for me, the entire journey is part of life. It's like everything in life is like that, you know. And I'm glad to
That's
share with the
right.
world.
Well, if someone wants to see some of your work right now, where would they go to see it?
I would say I have a website which is I have some of my work there, and mostly on Instagram. So on Instagram, I would be on like with Shinu John underscore. I'll just type it out. Can I type it out in the private chat? Because I don't think so. I have access to public chat.
Uh, well, there's probably a way to put it on the screen, but I'm not seeing it in my list on the menu.
I'll just put that in the private chat, and I'll have someone share it. So this would be my Instagram, and the website.
So Shinu John underscore.
Yes, I lost the count without the underscore.
Oh man.
Yeah, 40,000 followers, and Instagram just took it
Ah,
away.
ouch.
happens,
Ouch.
happens. There protocols
All right.
for
So,
like submissions, basically community guidelines.
well, you guys watching, go to either Instagram and it's Shinu John underscore, or go to his website, shinujohn.com. So that's ShinuJohn. All
Right.
right. Man, thanks again. You rock. I've
Thank you.
enjoyed this conversation with you. I feel privileged to have had this opportunity to speak with you and hear your passion. Those oh, Rupsha just shared with me that she put those websites in the comments. So you guys who are watching should be able to see that now and just be able to click on that link. But thank you so much for being here. Thanks for all you do to uplift photographers and to share your passion with others so that others can learn and grow and become even more of who they are and want to be because of your efforts. Just by doing the things that you're passionate about, you're uplifting other photographers, but you're doing more by actually spending time talking to us, like on a show like this, where you're sharing your passion, sharing your knowledge, sharing your experiences, letting us know that it's not all wins. that we look at your wins when we go to your website, your Instagram page, wherever we see you, we see your wins. We don't
Yep,
see your
yep.
losses, and we all experience both. Maybe a lot of losses, but those wins are fantastic. They mean so much more. And just because you go to someone's website and think, oh man, they're fantastic, they're amazing, they have just as many troubles and hoops to jump through as
Yep.
everyone else does. They still have the same number of hours in the day. And if you've got more hours in your day, then I want to take your class, Shinu. So
It's a secret.
that's right.
I have clones of
Ah.
myself. Like, one does the admin,
Yeah,
one does the
there you
editing.
go. There you go. That's right. Robots, AI, so so I want to bring this to a close and invite you guys who are watching. We're doing this because FilterPixel is sponsoring it. So I want you to go, of course, to filterpixel.com. FilterPixel is fantastic. It saves huge amounts of time. Oh my goodness. I used to spend in culling about a 10-to-1 ratio. Sometimes it was more. For every hour that I was photographing, there'd be a lot more time. And between events and portrait work, and that's what I do, is events and portrait work, mostly family
Mhm.
portraits, but a lot of families, a lot of weddings. So, man, talk about the amount of time that gives you back in your life.
Yep.
Filterpixel.com. Oh man, there's at least two of us right here that are saying you've got to check it out.
100%. Like,
Uh,
I still
Filter.
remember, like, a few weeks ago, I had an event, and like, I literally kept on clicking away almost 2,500 photos, and they're like, "Can we have it before Saturday?" I was like, "That's just 2 days." Like, how do you think that I can cull and edit them? And I think it's a media thing. Like the local newspaper had asked for photos. It was like, "Oh Jesus!" And yeah, push it to filter pixel and like overclock the machine. 40 minutes, like everything duplicated, culled, marked, edited. And I was like, "Oh, this is good." This would have taken me weeks, and it's like
Yeah,
40 minutes, and it's done.
isn't that amazing?
And now they made it even better. You don't even have to open Lightroom. You literally grab a folder, put that into Filter Pixel edits, and it's like edited. Like, that's so easy.
That's right, man. Man, if you guys watching aren't using FilterPixel, uh, go to filterpixel.com. They even have a free trial. I mean, you don't have to pay to try it. So take advantage of it. And even after you do decide you want it, you're thinking it's going to be an arm and a leg. It's not. It's surprisingly affordable. So go to filterpixel.com, you guys. All right. So thanks once again, Shanu. I appreciate you and the time that you've invested here with us today. And I want to thank you, viewers, for spending your time, investing your time here with us today on the Smart Photography Live show. I look forward to the next time. Bye for now.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jim. It's great and honest. It's a joy to share.
Awesome. Thanks.